Hey, Ira! Birthday season, birthday season, birthday season, birthday season. Pew, pew, pew!
How old are you?
I'm officially 35.
Jonathan, that means you have Biggie Yachty. Big birthday. You know what that means? That's a big deal in our culture. You need a band. You need a kotimisi.
And I still look pretty young.
Yes, your screen just went out.
Oh my goodness, you timed this perfectly. You got me a birthday cake.
I so did. Wow, what a timing. I didn't even plan that. That just happened, Jonathan.
It just came.
That is a great timing.
That is like spirit finding its way. Like,
Oh. So how you feeling?
I feel amazing. It's quite miraculous what I've invested in. I invested in like having every cell in my body have a joyful experience. I'm in a place where I really can cultivate that and lean into that and like be a part of that and explore that. So it's just really, really exciting. And I feel really, really good. I feel very, very blessed to be able to also steward what I'm stewarding.
Right.
There's so many choices that I've made that didn't have to happen or didn't have to happen that way, or I could have gone down a different road, or I could have chosen something else to value.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so happy I valued what I value.
Right.
Because let's be honest, I like the job that I had at 25, I should have at 35, right? Mm-hmm. We want to think logically. And a logic apparatus, 35-year-olds are ones who get like AD positions at a legacy. I like, you know what I mean? Even that's still considered kind of young.
Right.
To get that at 25, that is unheard of. That's a little bit like, that's a little, that there is this quantum leap again. And it's all because of the curation of the folks and how I showed up in that curation and what I was willing to accept.
Exactly.
Who do I accept myself as?
And I remember meeting you right when you started in this position at a young age, and me thinking, my God, they have an artistic director who's in his 20s. This is amazing. So what you have actually calling to your space at such a young age is also something to really think about, Jonathan. You were only 25 and already like putting this out in the universe, which is so inspiring. I'm wondering also, how is NBT doing? And for those people are going to watch this, so they're going to wonder, what is that? That's the National Black Theater, founded by Dr. Barbara Ann Teer.
Yes, in 1968. So National Black Theater, we're in a space of awakening or positioning the archive to actually creating the first revenue generating arts complex in the country, owned and occupied and run by a woman of color. And we are in the position of reimagining it and building a brand new 21st century theater that will sit there, will also residential. So it'll be a 20-story building with 2 theaters inside of it, with the capacity to allow us to dive deeper, create more spaces for human transformation and for Black liberation. This time could potentially be our North Star, if we claim it to be, to allow for a convergence of wisdom of the founding vision of National Black Theater, forged by Dr. Barbara Ann Teer, to be made real now in bone, flesh, and brick and mortar. And that what blessing it is to be part of that stewardship, to participate in that.
Right.
That is a rare gift in my mind.
Yeah. Well, as the director of international programming at the National Black Theater, I'm at your service. And as you know, I am your Pisces twin and turning 40 in 2 days. And so been thinking about the idea of legacy, right? Specifically with what's going on in the world right now, is what is our purpose and what is the legacy that we want to leave behind? Where are you in your process in documenting, preserving what you've created, but also being in a space like the National Black Theater, where we were packing up the space and going through all these boxes
Yeah.
this archival experience and moment of what Dr. Barbara Ann Teer had created for all of
Yeah.
us.
When I think about legacy, I think about like, what does it mean to pass the torch forward? What does it mean to
Mm-hmm.
build a space that allows for someone to occupy and someone to be able to expand and grow? I think about how powerful it is when one lets go of their ego, of their eye-centric self, and they lean into the service aspect of who we are as humans. When one wants to steward a legacy, when one wants to be a part of contributing to a legacy, you have to understand that you are a part of a continuation of a sentence, not the beginning, not the middle, and not the end of it. Like you will have a marker inside of a long continuation, and it's your job to pour in as much of who you are into your contribution inside of the pantheon of people, the pantheon of ideas that will be a part of it. And I think that's honestly what the Archival Project reminds me of, right? When I think about the Archival Project, I think of how nothing's new, everything is reimagined, everything is building on top of, everything is an innovation, and sometimes it's returning, right? Sometimes sometimes you're actually going back to some of the formative moments, and you're building on top of that. So there's so much humility that has to be accepted when someone says they want to participate in legacy building work. They have to be able to be a student every step of the way, even while other people are probably boasting them up to call them master, guru, whatever that might mean. You know what I mean? You have to always be like, yeah, you can call me that because that's where you are and your understanding of me. But where I'm in my understanding of this is that I'm still a student.
Right.
I'm still humble. I still have to hold the humble footprint of being able to like truly say that Dr. Teer is still my teacher. Right. The archive is still my manuscript of how or my North Star. And when I get the opportunity, the pleasure, the gift of being able to dive into that archive, I'm reminded of how in sync I am with being a steward of the legacy of this institution, right? The coincidence was divine. It wasn't by happenstance. And the reason why I feel at home and the reason why I invest as a space called home is because we vibrate at a frequency that we both need each other. There's a need inside of that legacy. For me, myself, as Jonathan, I will say I am collecting. I keep every birthday card, every holiday card. Like, you know what I mean? I just keep moments of grace and moments of friction that help me to stay grounded and tethered to my humanness. And I think more so my archive is to help me stay tethered to my humanness. How one gets to the place where some people are like, where did you come from? How did you arrive here? Well, I arrived because it might not feel like a long time to some people, but I have 35 years at this current juncture, 35 years of dedicated, committed work centering around a joy apparatus and love apparatus to myself. Right. How was I loving myself? How was I feeding myself with joy? Who did I position myself around who helped me to amplify it?
This has been a very interesting, challenging, but also and transitioning, but also very reflective year for many of us during this pandemic. Now it's been a year. How do you look back at where we were a year ago and where we are today and where we are going now moving forward?
I mean, when I think about this year of the pandemic, I really ask myself, did I allow myself to be the superhero of my own destiny? Mm-hmm. Did I allow myself to save myself instead of asking for other people? That was the mantra that I learned from this pandemic, is that there's no one that's going to save you. There's no one that's going to heal you automatically. You have to be in step with your own healing. You have to be in step with your own health. You will die in isolation. And mm-hmm. Death in isolation is in total, there's a lot of deaths. There's the physical death, there's the mental death, there's the spiritual death, there's the heart death. There's so many other ways that we die besides just physically, energetically leaving the body and leaving this plane. And so for me, it was like, when I reflect on 2020, it's that where did I allow myself to be the superhero? Where did I save myself? And am I continuing that legacy of being my own superhero? Mm-hmm. Am I continuing the legacy of living in discomfort and stretching my muscles to places that I don't know yet curious about? Am I allowing my curiosity to still be at the compass of my decision making? And also, am I allowing that decision making to invite other people to have a conversation with their own joy algorithm? Part of that, a lot of it was like going to therapy consistently. Part of that was and committing to that work and practice of therapy. Part of that was finding a tribe, a group of people that I could call, like, for the first time, Ira, like I have friends here in New York City who are like my same age, who are Black, gay, and male. I think my fellowships have always been centered around either a workout apparatus, or they've been centered around centered around a work apparatus or proximity to a job, right? And those friendships have been phenomenal. You are one of them. All of these amazing souls that have rooted me, have grounded me, have profoundly awakened me, also in proximity to the creative production that I do, or that I'm connected to, right? And for the first time, I'm connected to like a group of people who have no connection to that. They have no real understanding of my creative production apparatus. All they know me for is for my smile, or for my joy, or for my X, Y, and Z. And that is why we stick together.
Right. Oh, you're giving me a light bulb moment. I never felt like I left New York. I feel like it's still so much part of me, and I also still call it home. But what I have not been able to find yet, and this is my light bulb moment, I came back here for work.
Yes.
My tribe in New York knows me for my cooking. They know me from brunch on Sunday. They know me for the rides to Baltimore. They know me for me and Amy going to Whole Foods, buying kombucha with the last $10 that we had. You know? So it's a totally different kind of experience. So you're offering me some insight in my own experience being here in Amsterdam. So I thank you for that, because this is something that I've been sitting with for these past 2 to 3 years, is how do I navigate through this space where I feel like my tribe is at such a distance, where I'm missing these brunches and I'm missing these road trips to DC and Baltimore. And so I'm going to take that away from this conversation here today. I really appreciate that moment that you're giving me right now. So thank you. We've known each other for a few years now, and to be right next to you on this journey and witnessing your growth has been such an honor to be part of. So I want to thank you for that and say happy birthday. What a gift you are to so many of us. And the joy that you bring, it spreads all over, even all the way across the pond to Amsterdam. So thank you for that. I'm so blessed to have you as my brother, as my colleague, as my friend, and inspiration. I wish you so much more love and joy on your birthday, your biggie yachty today. And I'll be there all summer, so we'll connect.
Yes, summer, what? Summer, you and I.
All right, love you.
Love you. Talk to you later.